guys, this is Elisa and this is the Knitting Stories podcast, episode 2, finally. So let me give you a little bit of a context here because I should have filmed this podcast last week and to keep my a video every 2 weeks schedule, but there were some issues, like first of all construction works going on all around my house and so much noise, and second of all university. So I'm currently preparing the last 2 exams of my master's degree, so it's it's a very stressful period, and I had to study because on Wednesday I have an exam, but now I have some free time because tomorrow I'll leave for Bologna to do this exam, and so I figured that I needed some rest, and filming this podcast is my kind of rest at the moment. At the beginning, I thought this would have been a sort of spring mood board episode because I'm feeling very springy lately. In Italy, we've had 20 degrees outside. Yesterday it was a little bit rainy, and today is a lot windy, but the sun is shining and it's just so beautiful. Spring is coming, flowers everywhere, and I know that probably it is not like that in the rest of the world, but here it's like that. Here it's finally spring and I'm feeling very springy, but actually something happened today, and yarn delivery. So I thought it was the perfect moment to say, okay, just postpone the spring mood board kind of video and do a podcast, because it's a long time since you filmed the last one, and so this is the reason why I'm filming the episode 2. So as we said before, classic episode with finished objects and knitting plans and yarn acquisitions, works in progress, and so on. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so in terms of finished objects, I should first of all show you what I'm wearing today, because if you've seen my last video, which was a sort of vloggy thing about my trip to Copenhagen, you might have seen that I bought something at Sommerflugen, which is a beautiful yarn shop in Copenhagen, and I loved it so much. I picked up some knitting for olive merino in the color Plum Rose to go together with an Hito mohair in the color Cherry Blossom, with the idea of knitting myself a vest number 2 spring edition by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And here it is. I love it so much. So in the original pattern, the sample is knitted, if I'm not wrong, with the cotton merino and not with the merino, but when I saw this color of merino, I was just, I knew I had to buy it, so here it is. So about the pattern, I might say that it is not that size inclusive, and like My Favorite Things Knitwear is actually has been heavily criticized sometimes for this reason, but I simply liked the shaping, and I already had this pattern because I already made some vest number 2 spring editions for my friends. So I thought that it was better to use it and to try to modify it when I needed it. So if we want to start with the process of creating this vest, so I swatched and I was pretty off gauge, even if I used the recommended yarns. So I used a fingering weight yarn and a mohair held together. And it was pretty off gauge in the sense that 19 stitches, as the pattern says, gave me 8.5 centimeters instead of 10 centimeters. which is like a 15% decrease, and it was wow. So at the beginning I thought I would have knitted size S, and instead I decided to knit size M, hoping that with washing and blocking I would have been able to stretch and make it wider. And fortunately this happened, but at the beginning of the process I was like very scared of how this would have turned out. So at the beginning I just like so to knit this vest, you start with the back, and so when I knitted enough long piece of the back, I washed and blocked it just to make sure that it would have become large enough for me to wear it, and unfortunately it did. So I had hope in my washing and blocking process, and I went on, and in like 10 days I finished this vest, and this was amazing because like it's very fast for me. I'm a very slow knitter because I have so many things to do, even if I would love to knit all day long, but I can't, I simply can't. So knitting a vest in 10 days was wonderful. About the process, I enjoyed the process because knitting a vest is fast and is fun at the same time, because it involves like a lot of picking up. It involves I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I love Italian bind-off, and this involved a lot of Italian bind-off for the armhole edges and the body, and I simply loved it. Like, I love the color very much because maybe I can come a little bit closer. I really love the color because the lighter mohair give it this wonderful marled color, and it just makes me think about spring. And so yeah, I'm so happy with this. I would love to wear it all the time, and I can't wait to make me another one. Maybe with a cotton and merino blend or something like that, just because here in Italy it's so hot at the moment, and I would love to wear my knits a little bit longer. And that was it for what I'm wearing. If you have any question, as always, the pattern is will be linked down below on Ravelry, and the colors and the yarns I've used will be linked down there. There was another project that I finished in this month, but I unfortunately do not have it with me because I gifted it to my nonna. So it was her Sommernacht shawl, and that I made her for her birthday, and she turned 88 this year. So it was very important for me to make her something that she could always have with her, and I decided for that shawl because I love the lace details, and even if I have not it with me at the moment, I'll insert some footages of the shawl that I took before gifting it to her. She was so happy, guys. She loved the color, she loved the texture, she loved the warmth, and so on, and I really enjoyed the process, even if sometimes it was a bit stressful because I do not work well with deadlines. About the yarn that I chose, this is a fun story because I went to a sort of fair in Milan, which is called Abilmente, and it's a fair for hobbies where they sell different materials for different hobbies. And there was this lady who is from the Lake Como, and my nonna was born in a small village on the Lake Como. There were just like 4 houses where she lived, and one was hers and one was her aunts and uncles. So yeah, she comes from the mountains, and she used to work with yarn a lot. She used to work with wool a lot. They had sheep. They hand spun their own wool when she was younger, and she learned to knit in that way. And I've always seen her knit, and I've never tried myself before, like 2 or 3 years ago, but just because I wanted to do it for myself. And so I've never learned from her how to do that. But having the possibility to talk with her about knitting and about yarns and about like the fibers and so on, even if she is not like she's not used to, let's say, modern knitting, it's always beautiful. It always gives me the possibility to connect with her in a different way, and in a way that I wasn't able to do before. So it was very important for me that the yarn had some meaning in it. And when I saw that yarn, and I knew that the lady who was hand dyeing that yarn came from there and hand dyed the yarn from in that place on the Lake Como, I thought it was perfect because it was coming from the same territory where she was born and where she grew up. So I picked that up. It's a beautiful yarn with tones and hues of greens and blues, and again I'll insert some pictures. And it was a little bit hard on my hands because it was Italian wool, and Italian wool is not always the most perfect and the most suitable yarn for knitting, and but however I wanted to do that, so I decided I didn't care, and I went on and I finished that shawl, and it was a monster to knit. Like, I think that it's longer than 2 meters, and I had to alternate skeins because one skein was bluer and the other one was greener. So it was like a work for my brain. But at the same time, the final effect of the alternating of these 2 skeins was just amazing, was just perfect, I love the color so much. I would have loved to keep it for me. But that was for my nonna. She's very knit worthy and she appreciated it so much. She started wearing it as soon as I gifted it to her. So I'm so happy. I'm very happy. And yeah, the pattern is written wonderfully. It includes both charts and explanation. The charts are well written. There's no explanation on how to read charts, but I would say myself that this is not a beginner friendly pattern in a sense that probably you would like to know how to do, for example, increases, decreases, how to do yarn overs and so on before attempting to do this pattern. But again, I don't think that a pattern with lace details and with charts necessarily should have instructions on how to read charts, because I think that nowadays there are so many useful videos and tutorials on YouTube explaining you how to read charts. So I don't think that would be a problem. So pattern with charts, pattern with written explanation, and great suggestions on how to block the shawl, because of course it includes a lot of knitting, and the lace at the beginning is all wrinkled up, we can say, so blocking is so much important for this pattern. And yeah, the final result was just amazing and I loved it, and so yeah, I did some mistakes here and there, but like whenever I knit and I make mistakes, I simply try to not think about them so much, because if there's a space in my life where I can make mistakes and do not care about them, it's probably knitting. So I'm not caring about them. I'm just going along with the flow, trying to repair to the mistake that I did before, like maybe I dropped a stitch or maybe I didn't do an increase. Okay, I'll do the increase in the row in the following row, and that won't be a problem for me. So yeah. And talking about the last finished objects of this month, it was a test knit. It was a test knit for the beautiful and wonderful Orsa Knits over on YouTube and on Instagram. And I love the process so much because Easy, so kind, was always so much present during the process. She listened to everything that we test knitters had to say about the pattern, and we worked a lot with her trying to make the pattern as beginner friendly as possible. So let me show you my Victoria scarf, because I didn't say the name of the pattern, but yeah, the pattern is the Victoria scarf, and here you can see it. So I've already showed this on Instagram. By the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram and you are curious about it, my Instagram handle is @LisaKnittingStories. And yeah, so the Victoria scarf, as you can see, the Victoria scarf is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scarf that I usually wear as a sort of kerchief. Because yeah, I made mine a little bit shorter, and yeah, I prefer it like that. You could knit the pattern is easily adaptable to every length, and I must say that even if you have like smaller amounts of yarn, you can just knit increases till reaching the half of the weight of the yarn that you have at the beginning, and then start the decreases. It's the same like mechanism for the Sophie scarf and Sophie shawl, if you've ever knit them, but I think yes, most of you will have knit that because it's so famous, that pattern. And but this one is beautiful. Like, it has a beautiful detail, beautiful edge made in garter stitch, and then we start these beautiful cable. It's like these elongated cables, which makes the pattern very fun and almost addictive to knit. Like, about the yarn choice, I knitted mine with something I had in stash, which doesn't have a name, because I had two strands of cashmere, one with a lighter color, let me show you, and another one in a darker color, and I decided to put them together to have a thicker strand. And these gave me this blue with with some lighter tones that I really love. Maybe I can show you better right now, or else I could also insert some pictures, but yeah, this is just amazing. And yeah, so the pattern is wonderful. The pattern is written very carefully. As I said, Easy paid attention to all the advices that we test knitters had to give her. Easy was so attentive in also making the charts easy to read for beginner knitters. So the pattern does include charts, but they are easy, and when you understand how the repeat works, you won't even need the charts. I'm assuring you, it's like that. And it's just beautiful. If you like, I would suggest this pattern if you like. If you've ever thought about knitting a cabled sweater, maybe you could start with the Victoria scarf, just to make yourself comfortable with with the cables, and then you could go on knitting a cabled sweater or a cabled anything that you want. So yeah, I really love the experience of test knitting. I really love the experience of knitting these scarf, and I think it's just a beautiful accessory that it's also easily adaptable to every yarn weight and also to every season, because like I knitted mine in cashmere, but I've already had in mind of knitting another one with a lighter yarn, maybe using a drapier yarn with creating a more relaxed fabric, probably with bigger needle size, and make one for spring or for spring evenings or for summer evenings. I think I would love it in a lilac color or something like that. And also, like, even if the test knitters group was small, I enjoyed the process because everybody was sharing pictures, was sharing ideas for colors and for types of yarn. And since we lived in like very different places, like there were people coming from Canada, like High Fiber Knits, Emily, and for example, Knits and Fika, who lives in Northern Europe. Like, we had so many versions, and this simply demonstrate that this pattern is so versatile and so easily adaptable for everywhere. And probably this leads us into, I would say, yarn acquisitions. Yeah, let's just change a little bit. And why do I say yarn acquisitions? I say yarn acquisitions because I purchased some yarn to make another Victoria scarf. And that is not for me, unfortunately. That is for my other nonna, who will turn, if I'm not wrong, 84 on the 14th of April. And so I was a little bit unsure about what yarn to buy to make another Victoria scarf, because I wanted it to be a little bit longer, almost like a shawl for my nonna, because she uses them a lot, and I know she would prefer a shawl than a scarf. And usually when I do not know what yarn to buy, I always buy from Holst Garn. Because they have so many colors available and so many types of yarn, that I'm sure I will find something that is simply perfect. So, as I mentioned before, I wanted to make something lighter. So first of all, I went for Coast, which is their cotton and wool blend. And then I chose the colors. So my nonna loves blues, my nonna loves reds, my nonna loves like lilacs and purples. But in the end, I did not go for blue because I already knit a lot of blue for myself. I did not go for purples because I like purples and I know I will need something in purple for myself. So I went for red, and let me show you the color that I chose. So it's just arrived in the mail, so it's still in the package. And yeah, so here it is, my Holst Garn Coast. The color is crimson, and it's this beautiful bright red, and I've never knitted anything in red before, but when I saw this color, and when also my family saw this color, we immediately thought that it was perfect for my nonna. And yeah, so this is just beautiful. So Coast is, as we said before, 55% lamb's wool, 45% cotton, and 1/10 cake is 50 gram and it's 350 meters, so it's very long. And I'm planning of holding it double because, as you can see here, like, I hope this is focusing, but as you can see here, the thread is very thin. It's usually knitted with needles 2.5-3 millimeter needles, and it usually has 26 stitches, but on the website they are very precise and they tell you the gauge when you use when you use it in 2 strands or when you pair it with another yarn. So I usually buy from Holst Garn because I know they're very reliable, and also the colors are pretty much like they're on the website, because Holst Garn is not easily available in Italy and it's always very pricier than it is on the website. So even if I have to pay shipping costs, I prefer to buy directly from the website, also because they have a wider range of colors. So since it's just arrived, I still need to swatch and decide if I want to hold the yarn double or if I want to hold it single. But I'm just so pleased with the colors. Yeah. And as I was telling you before, I'm always very happy of buying from Holst Garn because I've already used like their coast yarn for making a camisole number 4, if I'm not wrong. And I wanted the color Kingfisher of Coast, but instead they sent me the color Kingfisher but the Supersoft. And they were pretty different because like the Kingfisher of the Supersoft is a sort of green, a very deep green, while the Kingfisher of the Coast is blue. It's definitely blue. And I wrote to Holst Garn and they were so how can I say, they were so attentive, they were so ready to solve my problems, and they didn't even want me to send them back the Supersoft. They let me keep it, and they simply sent me the right yarn that I asked for. And so now I have 3 balls of Supersoft that are there waiting to be used. So yeah, and yes, this was one yarn acquisition. And I have something else because on the 18th of March it was my nonno's birthday. Yeah, I think that my nonno is one of my favorite people on earth. And I can't believe I've knitted something for everyone in my life except for him. So I decided that I would knit him something which I'm sure he will use. And he uses a lot of vests and sleepovers, so I thought it would be great to knit him a vest number 2 spring edition by my favorite things knitwear, just to be like matchy, how can we say. So yeah, since I was already buying from Coast and I already knew they're super soft, I decided to buy something from them again. And here I have also a little tip for you. So I decided for the vest number 2 spring edition for my nonno to use a Supersoft. Again, sorry for the noise, they're just arrived. And yeah, let me show you the color. Here you have it. I love this little yarn candy. So the color is Glacier, and Supersoft is a yarn made of 100% wool. Usually they're sold in 50-gram balls, 50-gram cakes, and 50-gram cakes is usually 287 meters. And I would say that the yarn weight is almost the same, it's pretty much the same than Coast, so probably a light fingering would be perfect. Probably the gauge is a little bit different, but I actually do not remember at the moment. It will be written somewhere here around me. I promise. And so now I imagine that you are curious why all this Supersoft is here in this bag instead of in cakes. And this is because Holst Garn offers color bags. So maybe they have pieces of yarn or yarn quantities from the same lot that are just that they didn't make to like cake form, and they sell them in color bags at a discounted price. And of course I love it because it's a discounted price, but I also love it because it reduces waste and it reduces yarn that is not consumed. And so I love to buy color bags from Holst Garn because I think it's such a beautiful thing to do. And so for every color bag is at least 200 grams, and you have to go with the colors that they have. But fortunately I decided I wanted to have a Glacier for my nonna's vest, and there was a color bag of Glacier, and I was so happy and I immediately bought it. So they're at least 200 grams. I actually weighted my my yarn quantity, the yarn quantity that arrived to me on a kitchen scale, so it's probably not that precise, but it was like 215 grams. So I'm planning to holding it double, but I bought something else to go with the Supersoft here. Simply because I wanted to be sure to get the gauge and to do everything perfect for my nonno. By the way, my nonno turned 91, so yeah, it was a big party for him. And yeah, so let me show you what I bought to go with Holst Garn Supersoft Glacier. And sorry for the noise again. I won't stop saying that. And it is oh my god, this is so soft. It's so beautiful. Sorry guys. It's Holst Garn Titicaca. Look at the color, it's just amazing. And now let's see how it pairs. It pairs perfectly, but I wasn't like, I had no doubts because on the Holst Garn website, when you go to the page dedicated to Titicaca, they also have a sort of chart indicating you which color of Titicaca you should choose to pair with each color of Supersoft and each color of Coast, and also each color of Aya and Tights. Tights is Holst Garn mix of wool and silk, and Aya is a new yarn that I'm very curious to try, but probably I will do it this winter. So, talking about this Titicaca, which is like the softest thing on earth. Beautiful. Sorry. You know, we knitters are crazy sometimes. It's 100% pure thin alpaca, and yeah, it's 400 meters per 50 grams, so I bought two, and I hope to have some leftovers just for myself, but probably it will be like that. So the original plan was to hold Titicaca with one strand of Supersoft, but then I decided to buy more of the Supersoft just to be sure that it was enough, also because I know that I will probably have to hold Supersoft double with one strand of Titicaca. And this is because I am a very loose knitter, and yeah, probably that was also the with this version of the vest number 2 spring edition, so I didn't like the fabric that I got with bigger needles, and I had to go down a needle size. Yeah, this color is just amazing. Let me show you again. It has a lot of hues. It is blue, but there's a slight undertone of a lighter sky blue, which is almost gray, and I really love it. And it's very soft. Like definitely, I will have to see how it knits up. But for the moment, guys, I'm really suggesting you to buy Titicaca. Also because I think it's a gorgeous yarn alternative for mohair. Sometimes I hate mohair just because it's so expensive, but I really appreciate what it does to garments. Like, I know that it makes them sturdier, we can say, and it fills the holes. It gives a better texture, we can say. But this gives us a wonderful alternative, because these balls sold for like something around 7 euros or 8 euros, and you have like double metrage than a common mohair ball. So for the same price, or even for a lower price, you get double the metrage. And I will see how it knits up, but I can say that it has a little bit of a halo. So it won't probably fill the gaps as mohair does, but it will do something. And I just love the softness. And I also think it's a beautiful alternative for mohair because alpaca usually doesn't give itchiness like mohair can do. So yeah, I just love it. Okay, let me show you once again how these Titicaca. By the way, this is color Pegasus, but you will see that in the website everything is specified. Like, Pegasus was the Titicaca color that was advised to go with Glacier. So I just trusted Holst Garn. Here, it's beautiful. Like, I bet they are just perfect together. Yeah, I can already envision the final piece, and I can wait to start knit. But probably first I'll do the Victoria scarf for my nonna. And these, yeah, that was all for yarn acquisition. Yeah, and it's like that, okay? It was not for me. Everything I bought, only yarn for which I have plans. So I'm not regretting anything, and I'm just so happy with the color choice. I thought about it for like 5 days before buying it, but this is just me overthinking about yarn. And so yeah. So this is what I bought. Let me show you all together. Like, is it me, or this crimson goes perfectly well with the Pegasus and the Glacier? Okay, now I have to resist the urge to knit myself something. But yeah, this leads us to knitting plans. And as you might have understand, I won't probably knit a lot for me this month again. But yeah, so about plans, as I said, another Victoria scarf for my nonna, and this vest number 2 spring edition for my nonna. And now I'm currently working on a scarf that I'm self-drafting, so there's no pattern, but it's like very simple here. I hope you can see it well, but like, I thought about these this alternation of like, you see there's ribbing here, then there's garter stitch, and then I made some eyelets. and it's a very simple alternation of these three kind of stitches that I think go very well together. And I'm knitting these in again in a cashmere yarn that I bought at Abilmente, and I actually don't remember the brand because it's not very famous. I don't think they even sell it no, I don't think there's anything on the internet. I remember checking for it, but there's nothing. And I'm like, it's very simple. It has here an edge in again in garter stitch, and I'm increasing on every row, so both on the front and on the back of the piece. And yeah, I'm knitting this again. I don't know if it will be for me or for my mom, because by the way, my mom stole my Victoria scarf. This blue Victoria scarf is not mine, it's my mom's. So I do not have any Victoria scarf for me at the moment. But yeah, so one knitting plan is finishing this scarf, which is unnamed and which is, let's call it, my scarf. So as I said, the two works for my nonna and one for my nonno. And then I will probably have to knit something for me, because my boyfriend will graduate from his master degree at the beginning of May. And I'm planning to knit something for myself, and I would like to have something very special, which will probably be a top from Other Loops, which is called the twist loop top, and I love it. Like, it is so elegant, and I just love that detail of the ribbing of these like vortex in the middle of the top, and I think it's so elegant and at the same time so casual, that it would be perfect not just for a graduation, which is an important occasion, and I'm very excited about it, and also like a wonderful layer piece for spring and maybe even for autumn. I'm very undecided about the color, because I would certainly buy some knitting for Olive, probably the cotton merino or the pure silk, but I'm worried that the pure silk will like stretch too much, because the top is a ribbed top. It's like 2x2 rib, if I'm not wrong, and I'm worried the pure silk won't hold that, like won't perfectly hold the 2x2 ribbing, and it will start to like to stretch too much. So probably I will go for the cotton merino by Knitting for Olive. I'm undecided about the colors, because Knitting for Olive has just so many colors and I have to choose it on the website. But I'll probably knit it in some neutral colors, like I wanted a white, which is yellowish, yeah, yes, a yellowish white or something like that. So guys, if you have any suggestions about the colors, the perfect color of Knitting for Olive cotton merino that maybe you tried, please write it down below. And if you have any suggestions whether I should pick the pure silk or the cotton merino, please comment down below, write me on Instagram, DM me, or anything you want, because this girl is very undecided and she has so many doubts, and like the graduation is in 1 month and I didn't even bought the yarn, so I'm worried. I'm officially worried. And any suggestion will be so much appreciated. Don't worry, just write me anything you want. I will definitely care about what you have to say. And I think that is all. probably I hope this episode will be shorter than the first one, because the first one was very long and I'm worried I'm like becoming boring. But yeah, I want to take advantage of this time to say a really, really, really big thank you to you who took the time to watch my first podcast and the vlog, the knitting vlog of Copenhagen. I really appreciated every thumbs up, every comment. I really appreciate everything that you have to say. I was so amazed of the fact that someone took the time of watching the podcast, and I didn't imagine that like 600 people would have cared about it. So I'm happy, and this really gives me the energy to go on and film other podcasts and do other videos, also because I'm enjoying it so much. I love talking about yarns, and also my family loves the fact that now I can talk about yarns with someone else, because sometimes I become pretty obsessive. But yeah, so as always, you will find everything linked in the description down below. If you have any questions, I know that I like to ramble, so write me again, comment down below, DM me again. And yeah, I hope to be here with you in 2 weeks, talking to you about my spring mood board plans, knitting plans, things I would love to have that I will probably never knit, and so on. And I will probably publish another knitting podcast in a month, just to keep you updated of my progress and of my finished objects and so on. Thank you so much for having listened to me. Thank you so much for being here with me. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Comment down below if you would like me to change something, anything, everything. And thanks so much for watching. Happy knitting, and bye bye. See you in the next one.